I get to graduate. I don't know why because untsonale manpower support. How feel I man yeah, it chill. So I'd stay kgwedi tse pedi tse tharo mosebetsi wa ka se lo lema diploto, and that's just about it. Then I discovered that this is not taking me anywhere. So every time I tla mo kopana with my then girlfriend, who's now my wife, anyway, so I can boldly speak about it.
Okay.
So ebe she would pop some money, say, it's hard to interact again. It was first at cool. But then something like ego ya ka yang hanela. I don't want to for 20 rand. Like, so I decided upon myself, like, I'm cutting her off. I'm not gonna do this anymore. Number one. Number two, I felt a bit inferior. I was like, nah, they're gonna snack her. Skype mana, because I wanna learn how can I be a better person, and then come to you to say, I've seen her. Do it, come on, you can do this. It's gonna be all of that. I'm not saying porn is right. I'm only justifying that a lot of us have been there. If not, we have seen. We grew up in areas where we have seen more than what we actually supposed to be saying.
Dumelang, hello. Welcome to the third episode of the High End Podcast. I am your host, Keke. Bana beso, re a leboha ha le ntse le shebella podcast. Please do engage us on all social media platforms, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Ho tsona kaofela re the High End Podcast. Today, we have the youngest successful businessman, Ntate Doxa Kabod, Mr. Lefa Khanare. Ntate Lefa, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, and thanks to you and the team, and to all our listeners out there. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, Ntate Doxa. I always say Doxa Kabod. Ha ke tseba hore ke lo apara. But I don't know what is this Doxa Kabod. It's
Yeah.
ke eng.
Ke ile ka thulwa ke cupboard ya ba se ke re all right, I'm like the name, there's a funny please forgive me for that. There's a funny thing about it. When we wanted to start a business, my wife and I, we decided after we had our first kid, bitsola hae ke Khanya, so Khanya, it's more like glory. And so the Greek and Hebrew name for Khanya is Doxa, and then there's also Kabod. So we just matched the two, and then we came up with Doxa and Kabod. So basically, business in like Khanya. If we put it to simply put, yeah, it's two names. So it bulela Khanya, and that's my son's name. So now since I'm under the Doxa, I'm like, okay, I've adapted to that, but the real thing, yeah,
Okay.
that is where it comes from, yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes.
Le a re bona. Re kganya le rona.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. No, I really appreciate that, really. Yeah.
Okay, this is Doxa. When you dress royalty, you feel like a king. When you feel like a king, you attract queens. And that experience, o tla fumana ha Doxa Kabod feela.
Yeah.
Ba fumane ha speedy complex, pela sekele e kgolo maseru. Ba etele o lo iphumanela sudu. Mpone feela.
Looking amazing. I'm loving the cravat. It's
And I'm
doing
loving
things.
the look.
I'm loving the cravat. It's really giving those vibes. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, Ndate. When did you realize that you were an entrepreneur?
It always starts when you're broke.
Okay.
I remember very well. I was doing my third year at the National University of Lesotho. I think some of the things you're born with them. It's like a gift. For me, selling has been something that's been with me because when I was doing my third year, a friend of ours, Banabayense, a logo. It was the interpretation of it was like we have our roots rooted in Africa. So they designed that, and that was before all this other AI things. Therefore, everything would just be abstract. So they constructed this abstract logo, but the person who was supposed to print it didn't give what they, something like. They didn't understand exactly what was needed of them. So the logo came out ugly, simply put. And they were like, we have invested a lot of money into these t-shirts, but we can't sell them like this. Let's just start again. We're gonna sell them for $30 instead of the $80 that was anticipated, and then that's just it. I was like, $30? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, okay, there were 20 t-shirts. Give me these 20 t-shirts. Let me sell them for you. When we are done selling these t-shirts, let me give you your $30, and then we'll settle the rest. They're like, are you sure about this? Like, I mean, trust me. I sold the t-shirts for $80. Before the end of that day, they were gone. So the reason why Utakere sometimes I feel like it's a gift, I think growing up, I have a personality and a character that's different from other people. I'm a loud person. And started way back. This element, for me, that has been that's what I've been called for a long time. But having to use that in a good way, I've seen the good profits out of that, because now I'm able to be a good salesperson. I could sell anything at any time. Like I said, by the end of that day, the t-shirts only fading. And so from that day, I just knew that, hey, there's money here. Because if you wake up in the morning, I didn't have any amount. I just took business about 20 first talk about, and then I sold and I made a lot of money. So I saw like, okay, this thing can work. After that, I developed another brand in a bit of Varsity Swag back then. Yeah.
I still have that sweater.
You still do?
I
Of
still
all
do.
the sweaters that I've done, I saw somebody wearing it. I think it was last year, November. You know the branding in Jwalo even today. So I was fortunate enough to have had a very good supplier of that. And then we started Varsity Swag. But then, household out of university, you no longer have good connections with people around, because also you feel a bit out of place. And for me, I felt like it's no longer working. I was very bad with money. Very bad. So collapse. So but for me, I think business has started way back then. But I can also share a bit of a story way beyond that. When I was standard 7, I knew I can talk to people. So when I was doing my grade 6, 7, used to attend a school so what I would do is transport, maybe I would just come out all the way from Matsoso to here. Then maybe I feel like a stopong. The high school ladies and brothers Bantemba Fetamo, I just go to them, hello, my coupon transport. I'll do that on a daily basis. I would get out of that with Boma 14 Ranta. I would go to shop Pride back then, still a couple of chocolates. And for some reason, I never got caught. So I've always been a bold person, but I think to some element, that ability to be able to speak to people has really worked for me to, I could really pay respect to that, to where I am today. Yeah.
So, you've always had that selling skill.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how tla qala Doxa wa tloela Diversity Swag and
Yeah. My story is very funny, because after I graduated, life, guys. Life. Life, it's not easy. When I started, I had my then girlfriend. Ne? So I'm a man. I'm pretty sure a lot of men would understand what I'm talking about. So I've got a lot of ego. So how I talk graduate, I don't know why because untsonale manpower was support. How fit life man yeah, it chill. So I'd stay and that's just about it. Then I discovered that this is not taking me anywhere. So every time I with my then girlfriend, who's now my wife, anyway, so I can boldly speak about it.
okay.
So Ebe, she would pop some money, say, it's hard to interact again. It was first at cool. But then something like you go yang hanela. I don't want to for 20 rand. Like, so I decided upon myself, like, I'm cutting it off. I'm not gonna do this anymore. Number one. Number two, I felt a bit inferior. I was like, nah, they're gonna snack her.
Oh, Nansa le Roma. Okay.
She was finishing up. So I was like, nah, I'm done. I'm out. So I found a good excuse for me to get out. The day when I was about to go out, she said, hey, I wanted us to talk. I said, yeah, I wanted us to talk as well. I'm pregnant. You're what? I came to tell you it's over. All right, it's a bit private, but it's out there. But that really taught me a lesson, because from then, my life wasn't together. I've got a kid coming through. I got a woman that I really love, but the ego and everything else. So I had to step up and be a man. So I did a bold thing. I remember it was one June. And then I started selling oranges. And then she asked me, why don't you just go to town? Because at least if you go to town, you'll have more people there. After all, you understand? So I took the advice, went to town. It wasn't easy. You know that feeling when you get into town and you've got your classmates, they are you understand? They're like, oh, hi, Lefa, how you doing? Oh, it's you selling. Oh, I don't have it now. It feels like the whole manhood. You understand? That ego, you remember I talked about it. It still hit home, but I had to provide. I got a kid on the way. I got a wife, and so I had to do it, and I kept doing it. I think for 2 or so years, I kept doing it until one woman, hey, but what did you really do at school? I see you selling, you're good at it, and you're not just selling like an ordinary person. What did you do? I'm like, I'm a graduate. Le certificate. She's like, bring your certificates. Then on Monday, it was a Friday. Monday, I brought them. Tuesday, I was selling insurance.
Okay.
And then that's how it started. And then I did a stupid thing. I had a friend of mine in the sort of and it's like, hey man, I've got a job now. Take care of the business. I'm gone. The business was gone in a month's time. I had a friend of mine. I'm proud to mention him because he has attributed a lot to the success and so on. He was in South Africa at the time. So at the time, Happy Socks, knitted ties, a new style, nobody has them. The friend of mine is just bringing them in. Formal every day, and people are like, hey man, where did you get this? I've been meaning to want this. When I did this sales, I was like, well, until it happened so much that I've discovered, hey man, there's a business here. A lot of people are asking me for this. So I told my friend, give me 10. Gave him insurance. It will humble you. And then I brought in 10. I discovered there's a clause. You're not supposed to be selling anything except insurance. So I can't sell. But I've got people who are buying this. So I started selling underground, so I couldn't just be out about it. So hola until I took a bold move, took a loan. I'm trying to so that's so I went to the bank like any other person does. And then by location if like set up around lenses in there. After guys we started selling there. Masipala nina close when I also busy botiki tsamao here. Mona ge batla isugudi. Ha se bo isugudi ntwena e mona. Se ya tsela se ke 1.5. Hare. So I was frustrated. Where do I go from here? Found a room. And like, I was in the last floor selling the part. But anything, So I was trying to tell you, I had to quit my job, of course, at some point, and then focus on the business. And then voila, here we are. 8 years later.
And then what developed the name after the son came? Doxa and...
Remember, the son was already on the way.
Yeah.
Way before. Yeah.
Okay.
So my wife and I, we wanted a name when the business was now getting bigger, and then we came up with the name, Doxa Kabod. So that's how it came into picture. So when we moved from the street to find a place, then we had to come up with a name. So yeah, that's what happened.
Before venturing into business, what is that one thing you wish you knew before venturing into it?
Oh, that one thing that I knew, that the suppliers matter. When I get on I did what a logical person would do. I've heard people say, no, if you go to that place, if you go to, everyone is like in Joburg. How come Joburg? Yeah, in 20 cheap Joburg. Nobody tells you that same Joburg, same street, you could find something double the price if you don't find the right person who's like the heart of everything else. So I bought stock for a ridiculous amount of money in the beginning. Now I look at it now as like I got into business without having the facts right. So I got into business with the wrong mentality. I want to be rich like everyone else, which is not really bad, but the strategies also when you're trying to really do business. Let me just make an example. When you are in a I want to be rich strategy, every amount that gets into your account, it's meant to enrich you because you're trying to be rich. But when you're in an understanding of I'm an entrepreneur, I want to grow something big, whatever amount that comes in, you're like, how much of this can I use to create a bigger brand? How much of this can I use towards marketing? Not even understanding that marketing is a bigger portion more than the products themselves. So a lot of things that you learn along the way, especially for somebody in BSc, I had nothing to do with money or even the business itself. So yeah, I
I'm
did a
learning
lot
a
of
thing or
mistakes.
two.
Yes,
I'm learning.
definitely.
But do you come from money?
Nope. I wouldn't be selling fruits on the streets. I wouldn't be asking people for $2 when I was 7 years old. When I was like, how much last under 7 is like
12.
12. Yeah. So I wouldn't be doing that honestly if I came from money. But what I loved about my parents loved education. So they took me to one of the best schools. Mono, Okenabo, Banaba Matona, I still remember some of them. And I was like the black sheep of the whole community. You understand? But my parents loved education like that. And I think it really helped me a lot.
AI.
I'm not man. And I love what they did. They didn't come from money, but my parents understood the value of education. And they invested a lot towards that. And the rest, it was like giving you a push into life. They didn't have money, they didn't have. But it really rang later on to me to say they were trying to give me a push in life that they never really had. So I had to do something because I wasn't feeling so. And I appreciate what they have done in my life. It's an English medium.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
In those days, yeah, it was among the best.
Okay.
I don't know now, yeah.
When did you first make your millionaire? Your million?
How I get on with you guys? All right, I'm 33 going 34 now. When I was exactly entering 29 to 30, that's when I did the first million. Yeah, so I said,
You see, I was so correct to say the youngest.
I'm not really
successful.
There are a lot of. I think that name is really overrated because there are a lot of people who are more successful than I am, way younger than I am. I could go a long list. I got a lot of friends.
Is it
younger than I am?
Is it?
Way younger.
Let me see the car key. Let me see the car key.
The youngest person that I know is 19 right now.
Is it?
Account high. Let me not even go there because I would want to cry.
Let me see the car key.
There are a lot of people who are making it big out there. Yeah.
Okay, like I said, I'm learning a thing or two. Okay. What is the best financial advice would you give?
The best financial advice is that we go to school to learn about everything else that we're going to do in life. Just because it's about you wouldn't allow them if you have a problem, right? But the mistake that we normally do when it comes to money is that we want to be able to handle the money, yet any education towards it. So I think one of the greatest things that I would say would be when handling money, you need to know the literacy behind financial. So I think financial literacy is one of the greatest things anyone could ever do for themselves. It's normally not taught in school, but think about it. Everybody goes to school so that they could find work, so that they could make money. So the end product is always money, not musibiti. You feel what I'm saying? But nobody is teaching anything about the same end product that we are pursuing, which is money. Therefore, we mishandle money. We don't have the philosophy in and we have a different perspective. The more you read about money, the more you realize you don't know about money. Therefore, the more you understand why we're broke. So I think for me, one of the greatest things is this. We have an assignment for ourselves to learn about money. What is money? Let me get most of us, business, the problem is I don't think I have the money for it. But when you realize before there was money, there was barter system. It's like, oh, I love this. Can you give me this? So I give you this. I need this. You need this. So we could exchange. It's a barter system. Money was never there. Therefore, even now, money is never really the same thing that we want. If you want money, it's because you want to buy a house, buy a car, buy all of this. But is there a way that you can find a car? Is there a way to find a house without really having money, maybe having just an idea? And I think all that understanding make you realize that in as much as I need money, I need a bigger philosophy about what really money is as a medium of exchange than just being money. So much that it's not the same, which happens a lot. For me, it has always been like, I don't think I have enough money. But somehow when you have a different shift of understanding on what is money, how to handle money, how to even attract it to start with, you start to realize like money is never really the thing. It's the understanding behind it and the mentality that we have about money. So if there was an advice, let's get financial literacy.
Before all this, hona le motho a kileng a offer the financial advice.
There was Ntate, I'll never forget. Ntate Musa, Ntate Musa, I stumbled upon a book, Think and Grow Rich. I stumbled upon another book. Okay, I'm forgetting its name. They did something like a millionaire club or something. And when I discovered, I don't have any friends but the million. I pursued the one person that I knew, he's got millions. So Quebec my approach. He was a very nice guy, so I knew he was a nice guy. So I approached him and said, I've got a couple of people that I had gathered by then, but since I'm interested in business, I was like, I want you to mentor us into this. In our second lesson, he said, I lost 50 million. He's one of the people by number. If Upetelo Soto for a long time, you'd know Nonali Shopotana, the Super 7, with Fraser and all of that. He said, before we learn, how much have you ever lost? We're like, hey, and I've lost like 5,000. And for me, Niketa would drive 15,000 sometimes. He said, I lost 50 million. It's like 50 million. And then I started to realize when you spend time with rich people, millions, it's like talking about $100. But we don't have rich friends. Matter of fact, we are not intentional about creating friends. Therefore, we are stuck with people buying 100 rand, even they make you feel like a boss. Until you get to the league of people buying 1,000, and then you will talk about 100 rand within the league about 1,000. And definitely what it will do is it will drive you to go get more of thousands. And I hanged around. I'll never forget. Ndadema Khotla is one of the people that I dearly love. That guy is one of the people who also inspired me a lot. One other time, Kibualiana gave me a phone call. Said, "Man, I just closed a deal at 2 million, just like that." And I'm thinking in my mind, I'm battling with Odilale. 20,000, 2,000, 200,000. I feel like I'm somebody. Here I am with somebody who is taking 2 million. Like I just made in a day. Like I just. Njefe like 2 million, and he's talking about it like it's nothing. And here I am thinking, if I had 2 million, I'll be somebody. I'll be working on everyone else so that they know that I have 2 million. So I started to learn the philosophy of how rich people think, how they also there's always a saying that money is So I've learned so much from people who are rich. I had a privilege the other day, one meeting that I had, Danomo Wahai sat in his office, said something very profound, talking about business. So what we also never do as entrepreneurs, we never go out to seek people who could mentor us, get a coach, get a mentor, get a business advice. People when in life, I always say you need 3 caliber of people. People who baka bowling in within that range. You also need people back out because bana baba beji. The greatest enemy of your next success is the success also because how kopana le batho you feel like banana fence everywhere, you feel like you've made it in life. And this is what happens with this tube. They're in the same league with you, so they respect you for where you're learning. Bana ba ka tlase, they always adore how but when you get to the big leagues, how you are nothing. You meet people where you feel inferior to be in that room, so they help you to pull up your socks. So and I think that's just all I could say for now. Yeah,
That's nice. Okay.
I have 3 questions on that.
Okay.
You talked about making your first million around 29 to 30 years. How does a million feel? What's the up to date? go tlo bua ka 15,000 o re ntate mama ona bua ka 50 million. Wena so far ke tšhelete ka e o e jweng ka bo reng you lost it in your business. And you'll correct me, ke the third question, you'll correct me if I'm wrong. I think sometime last year you were holding some workshops or seminars. May you kindly elaborate on that?
Yeah. I have a poor memory. So yeah, last year we had that because for me, we wanted to give back as a company, to give back. So we decided the more how can you get back to the community? So we wanted to use that as a strategy to play within the big leagues more corporate mention. So we Doxa, okay, what we're going to do is we're gonna give back. We're gonna hold seminars for people the business, bring them together, find some of the best people who could mentor other people. I saw how important it was for me to be where I am because I had a couple of people to say you can make it, you know. So I wanted that for other people as well. It's like it's they say the top is always lonely, but I didn't want it to be like that. We could all make it if we put enough effort. So that's what we're trying to push with the business seminars that we're having people come through and just talk to us as a generation like that, which is one of the things that we still want to continue with, but we want to give it a higher note this year. So planning. To answer your second question, okay, your first question now, how does it feel to be a million? I think so much that when it arrives, you know, the funny thing, Kachelet, Cheleta I fitla, how na it's a million because by the time of fitla million, there's a project, 2 million I don't know how, but when like if it happens a lot, so how do I feel already? Because it's until half your project how you're okay, wow, I did first half, but now how do I get to? So for me, it wasn't really about like, oh, I made it, but three things. I wanted to be multi-millionaire before 30. I'm not really proud that I made it really at 30, but I can say it was one moment to just pat yourself in the back and say, hey man, if you did it here, there's a lot of things if you believe in yourself. So for me, it really inspired me a lot. Remind me the second question because I think I forgot on that one.
Okay. The last one was how much money have you lost?
Yo, like, you know, Bopilong, the funny thing is, when I talked about losing 50 million, it's because in a scam, there was a scam. I think in the total of my life, I've really lost a lot of money, but it's not really that much because I learned to be frugal with money. Ever since I met the Kira class in Tandete Musa, may he so rest in peace, he's no more. Lede Musa told me something very important. Via losses are high. You know, you always learn from other people. It doesn't have to always be you. So Elon Twitter, now how do I protect my money? So I think, to be honest, I haven't really lost a lot of money this game. Like, I've been very frugal with the decisions that I make. If I get sorry, you lose it, it's because I spend it. I chowed it. I didn't lose it. So yeah. So it changed how I perceive. Honestly speaking, I haven't really lost much in terms of how all for the business. I've become very sensitive of how I use my money and into a whole, because from the onset, from the people even before business, I started learning from these people, surrounding myself with these people, and therefore even some of the biggest decisions that I have to do, they come in and say, no, here's the way to go. So that's how I cut a lot of losses that I would make.
So how I feel boemo ba go utlwe gore o so tlhoka bo basadi ba bararo.
Ke tshwanetse motswalle basadi ba tura. The truth is, here is one thing that I always say. Women, Hannah, I had a question one day on social platforms. Somebody was asking, can a woman make you a millionaire? It's like, yeah, if you're a billionaire. Like, if you are a billionaire, a woman can make you that in so many ways. And we've seen people go through that. Either on a simple way, they could come in, divorce you, get half of whatever you're having, they're gone. Or they could come in, spend your money, make you that. But when you find a woman who supports you, I found my wife when I had nothing. I remember Chelete higher project 1,000 in Tsaka school. She gave it to me, so like, go push a little bit more on your t-shirts and all of that. It's like, this woman. Now you know when you find a real woman. How you successful, because now you never really know, is this person here because she truly loves me, or is it for the money or what? So for me, I knew it. This woman was by my side when I had nothing, bro, nothing. Remember when I said I almost went to her and told her, like, hey, I'm done. Let's just see some other people, So she was always there. So for me, I never felt like I needed another person, because she's one person who's just behind everything that I do. Like, even the name, it's inspired by her mostly. So those are some of the things. When you have a strong woman like that, you wanna and get more advisors. They'll tell you women are the worst. Women are the worst. Stay away from women if you wanna make it in life. So I can tell you to say it's our side.
What are you saying?
No, women, it's fine to have your own woman, like, your woman. There are other women outside there who are all simply, I always say this. Okay, let me not go there. Let me go there.
Okay.
You are actually right. If I'm correct, I think it's on YouTube. I always watch this guy. I forgot his name, but the YouTube channel is School of Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
So he was interviewing another young guy. So this guy was asked about how the strategy he used to get rich. He mentioned a lot of things, but one thing he mentioned was, I got married. Okay, why did you get married? Because when you have one woman, you are able to focus on other things. Yeah, instead of focusing on these things and other women. So I always tell my wife, you are a business decision, but I love you.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, so I think you are adding up on that. So yeah.
Very
So you agree on that?
I agree on that.
They say time is money, and women are here for time. Women interpretation is give me time. If you don't give me time, I don't feel loved. Or I could stick around, chow your money, find somebody who will give me time. I don't know if anybody's making sense. So therefore, it's safer to be with one woman, because you would appreciate every time that you're find you and knowing so you're saving money on the other side. So I think I agree with that as well. Yeah.
I'm a woman, but I can't attest to that.
Yeah, this one is for the men, my sister. This one is for the men.
Okay, let's take a little break and we'll be back soon. Thank you. Welcome back. We are still at it. Linda de Doxa and Kabod. That's light. Religion. Ke dutse le ntate Moruti. And Doxa Khanare, I believe you are a heartstone Christian. What's your interpretation of I receive as a Christian?
Interpretation ya ka ke on the I receive is this. Have you ever hangata hona ho esebile eka as powerful as it is, it is no longer working. Because in a Christian perspective, the belief system, your faith, what you believe in, it's the one that really creates a lot of things. Scripturally, there is a word that says, but a wise man will live by his faith. In other words, tabaya faith in terms of religion, in terms of Christianity. I had a friend of mine. I believe the opportunity on a lawyer. So, Hamhut. Ona mvetsa hore ona mo vetsa ntena ya sebetsa, you just need to go edumele how ka ba nna wa kore ke batla o dumela gore ntho ena ka le kopanya tshepe tsena tse pedi so na mfa story the other time ga mogolwane wa hae maponesa na tla le maso ne le ditlhoko tsebenyana tjena abuti wa hae so ha kopanya thupa tseno a dig batho bana ba fihla mona ba tlo mo siantsa le ona mona ba sa mmona. So it takes a belief ho dumela because how can I it's like but let me tell you what, it works for people who believe it.
Okay.
And I think the same aspect, I receive still works the same way. To say I receive, it's saying when somebody says to you, you are blessed. The extent that we do melang kayona, it's what you will live by. So the element here I receive was like to say I whatever yena e bueng yena ona ke dumellana le yona e hle tla ba jwalo bophelong ba ka. But then it went out of control, a good thing. It's more or less like the same thing now where with a lot of people would say talk about prophets. That's why I got a bit skeptical how because to many people nowadays moruti is like that person I just think because now that's what is happening now. You see a lot of everyone now but now just now a pastor. And it loses integrity as and so on. But if you sit down and really check whether they could fake it, but it doesn't nullify it about there's that office and the same thing happens I receive people who receive with understanding, they do receive. But for other people, they just do it because they do it and therefore they don't understand it and it won't work for them.
So when o etsa ka tumelo.
Yeah, I think you need to receive. If I come to you and I always say this, I tell you the truth. Because you believe it, because you know, maybe especially if you know the story and you've had other people talk about it, it would make more sense because now it took a little home. Same thing would happen. Remember in those times more how COVID what would happen every time on 5 people are now 10 people now. Every time it forces you to start to shake. What's going to happen? What's with me? Same thing happens. Same scenario. Same shift into Yetzahar. And you know what? The funny thing is religion is never really different from people in psychology. Psychology, they say you produce the results after you produce the results that emanate from your most dominant thoughts. Same thing with religion. What you believe, somebody says to you, you're gonna be blessed. You are blessed. If you believe it, it will work for you.
Did you grow up in a family of Christianity, like lapeng ho no rapelwa? Because I remember ntse re pota kaofela monana. And then I'm like, no, Khanare ebile moruti neng. Okay,
Yeah.
that's what the society says. How le into Christianity haholo o beile bophelo ba hao ho yona. So when did you start? Like o ka o no ntse o tswa bo di-chocolate.
Yeah, ke tswa hole.
So when did that come in?
Yeah. Like to answer your question, yes. I think if I was born in 91, then my parents received the crazy salvation in 97, so I was like 6 years basically. So yes, I grew up kara salvation. But the nice thing about it is this: we still have a lot of people who grow up in it and they turn out differently. It's not a one size fits all kind of formula. So I think for me it really worked for me. I love music. So nekibina haholo ka ra kereke, so from an early age, probably from 8 or 9, I would just take the stage and sing. So how was that helpful? The more you start to minister within that, then I think it hudisa wena as well spiritually. So spiritually I started to explore deeper into my faith so that this thing you a gift, it's responsibility. Another thing, like I said, that character also really helped me because now I would get known by a lot of people. So in all of that, a lot of people would know ka pelenyana hore motho ane ke mama. So in nthusa ha bana ba bang ba kana kotse ding ha huwa kwana ha nka ha huwa kwana ka ya kwana le bona ba tseba hore na ke mang le hore na ke etsang ha ina hlaha hantle so ba tseba hore my dad my mom ke baruti so wa tsaba bana ba baruti se ka batla mo phela in a certain way so that was my life so I'm not surprised things turn out this way for me really.
So both you and your wife into Christianity.
Yeah.
Did you marry her like you said marry yeah that mosadi a ka o ntsha ka kerekeng literally if she's not that
yeah
was she into Christianity Liena?
Yeah, fortunate thing, she grew up Kara Christianity as well.
Okay.
So we sing, we had a lot of things. In as much as I think I was at a spiritual level where I would understand what I really needed in a wife. And I'll just say this out loud for other people to really understand that marriage, I think for most of the time, marriage is such a huge covenant. I always say that marriage is a covenant between God and two people. And sometimes we forget that it's a covenant not just between two people, but also it's a covenant before God. This is why I don't know any other lenyalo most of the time how it's a lenyalo there's supposed to be there will be a Bible before God, before God, or whatever that. So God is always there in the process. So once you understand that, for me it was like I knew what I wanted. I remember very well with my wife. Thursdays, I still remember Thursdays would pray and fast. We'd pray and fast for the kind of relationship that we wanted, all of that. So it's about mhlala. When somebody I know wa tseba gore nna ngwana na no ha ke mo rate ka ba nna itle ke batla ngwana na no itle ska ha ke tla ke nwele mona tla ska tla nsitise you know so you create such decisions based on hore na oma they always say that we don't see things the way they are, we see things the way we are. In other words, your reflection of who you are will always come out on the next person you're batlang. So for me, I always knew that that kind of a woman, and fortunately my wife was just that. So
did you say you used to pray and fast with her?
Yeah, way before we got married. Thursdays were our days. Thursday was our days. I remember. It's 11 years now.
Okay.
And I remember vividly. Thursdays was our day. Yeah.
So
Thursday.
mojolo wa rapella vele.
No. What you know what? Thing is, motho mo le mona le ntho mo sustain. And I always say that whatever thing it takes for you guys to come together, it's whatever thing it will take for you to stay together.
Yeah, but ke batla o dumelane le nna.
Okay.
Relationship ya rapello.
Yeah. Everything you pray for it. Okay. When you are a prayer person, you pray for everything. Okay. You pray for everything. And for us, prayer was always a foundation for everything. And I think it should be. That's how it should be. You know, I always take prayer as a sign to say, I'm humble enough to acknowledge that there's somebody who's superior than I am, somebody who knows better than I am, and therefore somebody who has a better decision of what I should make than I could. So, yeah.
Okay, so we have a question from the audience. Yes, Ndate.
Okay, how do you allocate your time between church and business? Who the manager one di pedi.
And family.
Yeah, and family. So do fumana batho ba motho tla ba o bona gore they are committed in church and mohlomong their religion ke batho ba dumelang haholo ntate modimo, but if they are struggling, they want to achieve their goals but it's difficult. They want to get married, have families, but if ba hlola ho achieve, but the more o iponahatsang ka pela ntate modimo the more ke ka katleho ya hao e mo ya gwatla ho utlwana wena e bena o khona jwang ho di lala di pedi le rena o ka reng ho mothelo e leng hore wa leka but yeah and haba khona ho phunyeletsa.
Yeah. I think there was a time where I literally had to find a book, Ebuanka, time management, and all of that. I'll take it from your perspective in so many regards. The ability to really manage. The reason why I was actually shouting out family as well is because every area of our lives is in a little like yo, handle like and less success most of the time for other people. I'm not saying everyone, but it's easy to say I'm gonna pray for something and not work towards something. Anywhere in the Bible, you will never exchange prayer for action. More because prayer is like a communication where you go and the aim of communication ke ya hore find the direction or na I want to go back to what I would say. I would go and find other people ba seng ba le ka pele ho nna and go to them, ask them, ke bona ho le nzema, how do I work? Ke bona business e hana ho tla. When I get out of that conversation, I get out with an action plan. Not hore fela re ile go vent and we're talking. This is where a lot of us are failing. We believe that prayer, and please don't get me wrong. I think there's a thin line between the understanding that prayer is a communication. Therefore, from every communication, we're supposed to get out of it with an action plan. So most of the people kind of going, it's easy to pray for something, but act differently. So many principles on. But I want just Christian principle governor principle. You'll never say, okay, I get this year, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stand hudima mobuna, I'm just gonna pray over it. I'm just saying, we've seen a lot of things happen in the Bible where it might really make us think, hey, Lena can just stand there and not kiske ka lema. But when the mentality and the principle di robua, there will never be anywhere more of man success. Now, everywhere when you read in the Bible will always be against laziness, will always be against not taking initiatives and all of that. So when sometimes for other people, we wait too long for other things. Look at me. I'm not saying I'm the pure example of that, but I'm saying I still believe that the steps of the righteous are really guided by the Lord to say, if I was able to sell oranges, God gave me an angel that says, go to town. When I got to town and I was still working, still praying, and prayer does not alleviate the pain and the struggles and all of that. And first of all, I want us to understand that sometimes it takes us through that so that that's what we understand our the end goal is not that because even in that element is like guys come to church again, then we come like you walk out of there, we are millionaires. But there's an element of your dedication to whatever that you're doing. You persist until there's a light of dawn morning. Eventually God connected me to what seems like a small light, and then I got somebody unconnected to a work, and then I got some. It's a long route. In all of that, you're still in pain. What people see today, it's not what we are going through. Like we had a times where because we would pray, but things in this side it's a hard, and we would still go through those processes. What I'm trying to say is that prayer, the high quality hard work, high quality to work smart, high quality you need to do your end of the part, and it simply says it's like how tell is tika hara ka hara hlama. Every time when you read the Bible, God says, and He will bless the work of your hand. So sometimes we want things to happen, praying, "Wait, Mudimu, give me a job." But maybe God is saying, now you're just seated down. You're always on social media. Initiative, I'm gonna keep applying, keep doing this, keep doing that. Where there is initiative, like so, I think for some of us, it is that element more. We have put too much on prayer, but not a lot of us on. I always say this with my wife, with my marriage. I'm saying, and married people will understand. Sorry. In scenarios where we're praying for your marriage, you don't just pray for your marriage and maybe that's it. You need to be romantic, and that is not principles that day. things that govern the deep secrets that govern now. If you don't know them, find people who know. But no. You can't always be reading the Bible and praying all the time. Somewhere, buy flowers. That's the language. Yeah, the woman. You know, she will get tired and leave you. To find somebody she needs something handy. I'm not saying we are undermining the power of prayer, but I'm also saying let's get the principle behind everything right. Now, even in the book of Genesis, Jesus did not just speak everything into being in the first place and all of that. Yaba, even that's that. It took him time. I think that should also teach us that in the time we should be grateful to say, I'm putting one foot in front of the other. There's progress. I'm praying to God, doing everything right, but there's that progress. I am doing something towards it. I'm working on my marriage. I'm reading books, on my marriage. I'm reading books that help me with my finances, on managing a business and all of that, because I don't know everything. The Bible says, for lack of knowledge, my people perish.
Yeah.
Not because they don't pray, for lack of knowledge. So knowledge is like, I know what I'm supposed to do, when I'm supposed to do it, and I'm applying it. We are not just the hearers of the word, we're also executing. So I would say there's a thin line between just praying. Prayer alone will get you there, but it might take you a while. But prayer and action and believing that I'm going to keep on doing this because it will get you there faster. You know, so I'm a guy for action. Yeah.
Okay, ntate. Ne ke re ke tlo botsa hore na, how do you manage to be a modern Christian? You at the same time you manage to work. Ke family ka nqenana. Ge se ke ra lebala hore the age we touchile hanyane, but I want to know more. Re na le perception tse mona tsa hore baruti, I'm going to go deeper a bit. Baruti, there are some things they don't do ka bedroom because usually they are not holy. Kapo, I don't know. How what can you say?
I think God never told us the boundaries. He said, this is like a tough Adam. This is the bone of my bones. You know, so when you read the book of is it the Songs of Solomon? That's one of those books still. There are romantic books in the Bible. It talks about romance. It goes deep about, and nobody reads those kind of books. But when God gives you everything, puts it in your possession, this is not right. This is right. The only time in the Bible, that's the only thing. And now, what's the interpretation? What should I do? What shouldn't I do? Why is it wrong? Who said it's wrong? From whose perspective is it wrong? So I think we're missing the point. And I don't want to lie. I think one of the things is this, that technology comes in. There's a lot of things that we see. And which is, I just want to touch on this just a little bit. Here's the scenario. I come in, I'm a brother, born again, all of that. No, nothing. Comes in a sister, Khaladi born, and she got born again. I love the lady, coming together. So she's an expert, I'm not an expert. We put the two together. So some of the problems that we become unequally yoked, where the brother doesn't really know much. It's like the sister, I've seen it all, man. She knows what's right. And now when re hola ka tsela e tshwana, kapo re sena di expertise tse tshwana, especially in the bedroom, re tlo qabana. Because you're wild and you know it all. So hona le sa batlong wa understand hore either ke tlameha wa bkhida ka pelenyana o tla mo leng hona teng, or either le wena o tlameha o kokobele ho hopola hore le nna khale ke di etsa. And honestly speaking, so I'm trying to touch on that point where we're saying that element of always prayer, and no action in the bedroom and all of that. I'm really not for that, especially when there's so much information in front of us of what we could do to make things alive. And the problem is this: if we go on that journey, let's go with it together. I'll go critical. Skype mana ke shebeletse phone ke le mo. because I wanna learn how can I be a better person, and then come to you to say, I've seen how little. Do it. Come on, you can do this. It's gonna be all of that. I'm not saying porn is right. I'm only justifying that a lot of us have been there. If not, we have seen. We grew up in areas where we have seen more than what we actually supposed to be saying.
Okay.
We've seen generations. We've seen all of this. We've seen a movie where you've seen it. But part of that, what we know, because in can I just speak, guys?
Yeah,
Because
just-
they didn't have all these names. So they were just comfortable with what they know at the time, which I still believe.
Yeah.
So if this is a season of it now, there's I think it would be smart to try to learn a little bit about things. But here's the key: do it together. So that it was carboneka when I watches about among her chase. So the key is growing together in marriage. This is why I think Manyola Abatoba Belore, they've grown together, even in finances, in every area of their life. They are more stronger than people who are therefore and something before you came into being, I think that's the principle, growing together in marriage.
So, what you are saying is, if Ndate Modimo mpha botlolo e, I can use it however I want. If I want to turn it upside down, I can turn it upside down.
Why not? If it doesn't break any rule, under what you're supposed to do.
Okay.
Then
Mo
I don't have a
mareng dikobo tsa lona di hlweke. E bolelang taba eo?
Interpretations could vary.
Uh-huh.
Go, and whenever you want to really understand, I'll say, let's read the entire thing. Because what Paul was actually talking about, the women on those times and what was really happening in those times. Therefore, he was speaking, addressing issue, anything at that time.
Okay.
And if we take it out of context to say what I would mean, I shouldn't kiss you in the ear. Question is, who decided kissing in the ear is better than kissing on the lips? And was there ever a time where he just said kissing here was okay? So I think this is where we come in before everything else to understand is like everything that we're doing. When we are guided by God and we've got the Holy Spirit to guide us, if we're doing something and it feels okay, and then it's okay.
Okay. I think we have a question from the audience.
Okay.
Ke kopa botsa Ntate Doxa mo. Ke khutlela tabeng ya I receive. A khola tšheo ya gabile. A khola ke ne ke batla ho utlwa gore na tabe yo o bona ka ke eng ka e hlolang ya batho ba who go to church, pray, I receive, then no action, and in return they're going to say God didn't do them justice because they pray. I always made a good example. I think it was 2 years back, or I'm not sure, but there was I don't know if I'm right if I'll say a telenovela on SABC1 called Makoti. There was a pastor there who didn't want to do anything. Every time the wife comes, okay, we need to do this in order to get money. He said, no, we are not doing it. The Lord will provide. You see? So I want to know, because I've seen it in a lot of Christians, especially the young ones. How do you think we can mitigate that? Because I feel like as much as the pastor or the prophets will be teaching about such, but I think at some point they are failing to pass the knowledge that you have to do something. They will be telling you that no, tomorrow this is going to happen to you.
Miracles.
Yeah. You see? And that's why people what people are dwelling in. And I feel like those pastors are selling hope to people. Yeah. So how do you go around it, and what do you think we can do as a nation?
The main thing is about interpretation. I get some of what I mean. When there was a story of a man, obviously it's not like the real story. So, Banababonta, a story of a man who was in a boat. So, in fact, it was about to get flooded more than 100 day. So he kept praying, Mudimu, save me from this. Then God, he didn't take any action because he was expecting God to do something. Then like a lock. He still waited. It's like, God, I'm still waiting on you too. And until eventually he dies, comes to God and said, God, you have filled me. I prayed to you. You saved me. He said, okay, me, I brought people to you now. You did not do anything. I brought Baskomo, Kitisite Loco. Expectation, if God is going to do it, he will do it this way. So that the difference between how I expect God to do it and how God wants, like that understanding when God is doing it, how is he supposed to be doing it? What if that law God saving you was just another sign to say, hey, here's a hope, swim towards it, and that's how I'm gonna save you. So interpretation is a I'm gonna bless you. For some, enough knowledge, in fact, there is a Bible verse that says, "Modimo hlonolofatsa ba ba ratang ba ithobaletse." You know that. Now, for other people, it becomes, I don't have to do anything. I'm a beloved of God. He will definitely bless me. So I'll sleep. You'll die. And you'll blame it on God. And it won't be God. It'll be on you. Because we misinterpret. What's the funny thing about the Bible? The Bible is a tricky book to read because, like you said, in a hope. But misinterpretation. First of all, we need to understand Bibele ho e bala ha o e bale ka the actions, what was happening there. Modimo ntsha batho le fetisa lewatle le lefubedu. How you read the Bible is you extrapolate the principle. The Bible actually says, for God written all of these things so that in these things you'd have hope to understand. The issue here is the principle behind, not the action. Because God, the application is gafapana, but the principles are one thing that will never change regardless. So once most people who understand that the Bible from the perspective of the application we read it, nobody understands what was the principle behind. Nobody gets to like the principle. So what is the principle? What principle do I take here? Okay, I understand. What does it mean to me? And what is the principle that is always there? Well, we could have different principles for other perspective. The principle there is this, that how later is saying, I want you to go here, he will provide a way. That's probably one of the principles that you could use. But I'm gonna take this loan, I'm trusting God, and we are having that misinterpretation. You stumbled upon a verse, you took it literal as you could, and then it will kill you. So it's about the interpretation. It's about having the knowledge what is really God saying. So the interpretation would vary. And just right there. When you were born, another interpretation when we were born, if we decided I'm sorry to put this in that way, to say all of us, we could have chosen no this way, but some of us, we don't choose. We got nobody chooses that. So for me, it's still a blessing. So the way we interpret it is that because fancy car and all of that, if I don't see that manifest in my life, God just coming through, giving me this, coming through, giving me that, somebody just coming out of nowhere, giving me money, we interpret that there's no blessing. Why we don't understand the fact that we are still alive is just a blessing. So when God says, I will bless you, interpretation, I'm going to get rich. I think, no. COVID, but COVID, I'll keep you alive. That's enough. That's the enough blessing that you need for that day. So the interpretation, that's what kills us.
Are you good? Okay. Okay, that Ntate Khanare,
Yes, ma'am.
how do you take ditaba tsa social media? Mohlala. The other time, Doxa and Kabod advertised ka couple e nngwe e ne trend.
D41.
Yes, that.
Yeah.
And hola ba le criticism e ngata. Ntate tjeka mabenya ba kena on that. How do you take on ditaba tse jwalo from the social
I
media?
love that. Number one of the greatest things that I learned from one of my mentors who happened to have said in under his voice for, I think, Umfile just less than 30 minutes. He said, learn to separate your life from business so that for the benefits of the business. So what I mean is this. Whatever happens when you understand what really marketing is and what publicity is, you'd find for the same reason why a lot of people would create a little bit of chaos, kabomu, so that they would get publicity. Like it or not, at the end, he's winning. You'll judge. And the same person that you mentioned, he knows that philosophy so well. That man knows that philosophy so well.
Yeah.
But I don't want to mention a person. But here's the thing. In my defense, business is smart. When something business is about business is who's surfing. People who are surfing, for you to keep surfing, you need to ride on a wave. If you miss that wave, you won't kalaka long hard because you've missed that wave. But if you catch that wave, you will start to surf over the same wave. Business is the same way when it comes to marketing and visibility. So we saw a gap. Two people who were on everyone's lips. And let me tell you, we created content and that was a killer. We did the same thing under the sort. Look, man, you'll not understand business. I don't know if we could calculate to the core how much those two incidences have made. They have made us more money than you could ever think. So I would say that when you are an entrepreneur, not just a business person, when you're an entrepreneur, you learn to gather anything that could help you so that when you ride on that wave, by the time and let me tell you, it's a short season thing. I've learned it always be short season, but make the most out of it. And in both those seasons, including the same couple of Buankayona, I don't want to lie. Like, we created so much money out of that season that I don't regret any of that. Why? Because I'm an entrepreneur. Well, do I support No.
Okay.
I'm not for that. Where am I upon morals and all of that? Is this no. I have standards, I have got morals, and I love that. But when it comes to business, riding on the wave is one of the way to get onto it. So I think for me, that has been my key element of understanding business. Separate what you understand on our business again. Be a businessman. And
so
that's what
you
helps.
actually didn't take it ka tsela e personally ya gore jwale o so kwatetse ntate tjeka
He was marketing for us. Yeah, you know what it would mean when somebody like him with so much followership mentions your name. Just a mention. Like when he talks about your story, everyone's like, get laughing. Oh, get dog. And you'll be surprised. You wake up and ding, 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 ding. So many notifications, people are following the page. You're like, what's up, brother? Hosting House of Mana. Oh, he talked about us. You go to him and say, hey man, thank you for what you're doing. I love what you did right there.
One would think gore se le dira se le sa buisane.
That's my buddy right there. Honestly, he would know. Honestly, we are friends. Like, we've been. I'm not really friends. Like, okay, let me just say it this way: we are acquaintances.
Yeah.
Like, we're not enemies. Why? Because in life, you only mentality that you carry when you're an entrepreneur that a lot of people don't really see. It's more like politics. Isn't it funny how even in politics, you mentioned that you mentioned that but who really don't understand what is happening. People those guys meet together, eat together, laugh together, become big friends.
Yeah.
And why? Because they understand the game. So it's about understanding the game.
Nice. We have a question from our audience.
Okay net ka bokgutshwane fela ena ke pointing hanyane ka ntse re bua ka yona.
Yeah.
Apart from selling clothes, ke di income streams defense o nang le tsona, ke di business defense o nang le tsona apart from selling clothes.
We've got logistics, we've got kids section, and also I'm a public speaker. I got invited, and we are creating out of the, I think Ndadamlele did mention it a bit about our seminars that we host. They're also helping to drive in some income into that. We've got car rentals. We've got cars that we rent out. I think so far ke sale hakalonyana, and if ke di tseba kaofela, it means it's a problem. I need to come to a point where I feel, oh, I think we should ask my PA for that.
Yeah.
I can't
Okay.
wait for that. Yeah.
Okay.
One last two questions.
Yeah.
You know, the kamorao gona 2025, what are the plans, what are you or shebile kae hape go in terms of expanding your businesses, any future plans or goals to nang le tsona? Engwe ka go loka gona, how do you manage your finances? Do you have a salary? Stuff like you definitely like the employee. How do you manage all that? Because in some cases finance is the problem. You look how you are from a BSc background. You don't know much about that. Do you have a financial mentor?
Yeah.
Do you have an accountant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The last part is the answer. I have people who are really running my businesses. The reason being, in as much as I'm involved, I've seen a lot of us where we consume chelete businesses though ke a rona. So one of the principles that I learned early from the mentors was like separate yourself from the business. Be an employee, be a different entity. Be an employee, be a shareholder, be a partner, be everything. But above all, and the aspect that you are an employee, so you don't have every right. So there's somebody who comes in and checks our business, in fact, our finances, says, look, man, I'm gonna just give this for example. Last year, when we sat back, we realized expenses, how can we cut? And then we just discovered it's a minor thing that really grew up to be something big. That every time I tell I'll just be a bit more personal, like it's or when you deposit the money ka ATM, it charges you. When you deposit it via Cash Plus, it doesn't charge you. You understand? Small changes, but when you've got somebody who's a financial who understand or the finances, they help you to do even minor decisions that really have a long impact in a long way. So if you could save 600 per month, you've saved like 6,000 in 10 months, and that's like 7.2 in a year. That's enough money to take a short vacation. So small savings that really go a long way. So I've come to realize that I don't know everything. And I've come to admit, when you look at the structures of big companies, any of them that you can think of, there are people handling every area. Matter of fact, there's a department, not just people, a department, the entire department handling marketing, sales, HR, everything. So I can afford to have a whole department. But what I could do is to find somebody who could help me in those areas to say, okay, you didn't do law, but take note of this. If you need to do a contract, I've got somebody who comes in, then I'll consult, say, I've got this. So I've come to realize that in business, once I know everything, you make a lot of mistakes. So I've come to become one person who's humble enough to understand I don't know anything, especially finances. So I never handle finances. I just receive my check in the mail and thank God for the bread. And to say, okay, this is how much you've made. I'm like, oh, really? Okay, that's how it goes. And another thing that I think that has really helped me was to, if you know that you're not disciplined enough, find somebody who will help you and keep you in check in terms of discipline. And right now, what finance, people are thinking, but that idea about money, where people perceive money, I can't afford to hire one. You can't afford to, but you're gonna lose out in the business. Then don't hire him, give him shares. give be plain to him. Say, look, if you could help me in my finances, 5% of the business should go to you, 10% of the business, depending on how the share, I'm saying, I'm willing to let down 10% of the amount so that whatever you like loser could be compensated in terms of shares. Therefore, partner. Once you buy the partner, it's no longer your business. You have denied yourself that access. How do I go about 20 rand anytime once a month? So there are people who are keeping in check to say, hey man, we're doing this thing together, but pele ke bona 200 days ile ke ka panchelwa but ina sinyo ya mosebetsi no gana go ya mosebetsi but ina sinto ya mosebetsi okay yeah. So it keeps you in check in a lot of ways. But when you are there, everything o tebela ha o batla o hira ha o batla o nka tšhelete ha o batla, you're bound to fail at some point.
Wow. Are you good?
Yeah.
Okay, we have another question from the audience. Okay.
Oh, it's been answered.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Ntate Khanare, I think we have come to an end.
Wow, I'm really humbled for being here, and thank you so much. Oh, that was really, yeah. You bombarded me with a lot of questions. Somewhere I'm thinking, I can't wait for the episode to get out so that I can really listen what I was saying, because some of the questions are really hard. But I just hope some of them people will really find
They'll
an
be
idea of
helpful.
understanding, of understanding, at least have a glimpse of what we're trying to help them with the conversations that we're having here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for being with us. Thank you. Thank you
Actually,
so much.
it's me who's supposed to be thanking you for having me here. I really feel privileged considering the platform of people you're bringing here. So if I'm one of the people who's been brought here, wow.
You're humbled.
feel
I'm humbled as
obviously.
well.
Yeah.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Nate. And thank you for listening. Don't forget to follow, like, and share. And if they haven't told you today, remember, I love you. Thank you.